Hi, my ladies. So today I want to be taking you all through a mic'd up glute workout. And I just want to preface that glutes are a staple in a leg day. So how I divide up my leg days is I do give glutes their own separate day because I feel like they deserve it. There's so many glute muscles to work out, and I feel like you can never get them all if you combine them with your other leg muscle groups. So throughout the years, I have been catering a perfect glute workout for me, and I want to share it with you guys. But I want to preface, before I go into this mic'd up workout, I want to tell you kind of what we're getting ourselves into. And every single glute workout, I always stick with two staples, and that's going to be hip thrusts and RDLs. And RDL glute focus. Hip thrusts, I feel like, are such a staple because they will be working your upper glutes, but they are a compound movement. So I suggest doing them at the beginning of your workout because it's going to be that exercise that takes up the most amount of energy for you to do. But it honestly, hip thrusts are so rewarding, and I feel like hip thrusts are easy to progress in weight with if you are consistent with it. And then for RDLs, I feel like are also such a staple because they also are the ones that are going to be working those upper glutes as well. And I feel like with the hip extension, and you also get some more work in your hamstrings. But these exercises genuinely have been the ones that I've seen the most progress with. These exercises are the ones that I have chosen to become staples in my glute workout. And then I will go into some isolated glute exercises, and then I'll show you through my workout today. And I hope you guys enjoy. Okay, let's go ahead and start this glute day with our glute staple, and that's going to be hip thrusts. Now, this really is a killer workout, and it makes me see the heavens, but it is such a staple because it will be targeting those upper glutes. And since it is such a compound movement, I do typically do these at the beginning of my workouts just so I can use most of my energy for this exercise. So let me show you how I go ahead and do these. Okay, so with this placement on the mat, we're going to be trying to keep our knees at a 90-degree angle because if it's going to be extended, we're going to be working our squats. And also, if you don't have a hip thrust machine at your gym, you can do hip thrusts on barbells, you could do dumbbell hip thrusts, or you could do them on the Smith machines. Okay. And then when I lower, I'll go do slow and controlled. And then I'll explode back up at the front. So all this movement is going to be in our glutes.
Even when you come through, I can tell that it isn't you. So baby, bring it in closely. Hate the way I love you, but you're so sweet. I always find a way to say the wrong things. I wish that we were laying in the same sheets, but lately you've been acting like
I kid you not, this exercise is the one that makes me see the heavens. We're gonna go ahead and do some glute focus RDLs, and I like to do them on the squat rack so that it's easier for me to rack up the weight. So without the weight on the bars, we're gonna walk you through the form because RDLs, I'm gonna be honest, for me personally was the hardest to get the form down. Okay, so with the bar, I do put the racks on the lowest setting, and then I grip the bars, and I'll go back. And then what's important at first is that I'll put my feet shoulder width apart, and then I'm gonna glue my shoulders back to my lats, and then my neck is going to be glued to my body right now. And then once my hips hinge, I keep my neck in alignment. I keep my head in alignment with my neck. We'll go ahead and start our first set. I'm going to start my weight out with 25s. And I do have wrist straps, but I honestly don't like using them with the barbell because my grip strength isn't ideal.
你像个 sporty freak，慢慢在的时间又为了long time。I'm feeling so lonely, even when you come through, I can tell that it isn't you. So baby, bring it in close. Hate the way I love you, just so sweet. I always find a way to say it when you make. I wish that we were living in the same sheet.
Hello?
Hey, yeah, I know. I've been meaning to call, but there's just something I gotta tell you that.
Okay, so we're gonna go into there's glute isolated exercises. This is gonna be working the sides. And let me tell you that honestly, I have been to trial and error with exercises that will work the sides and give me really the best growth. But genuinely, it's going to be step ups and reverse lunges, especially on the Smith machine. So step ups, I don't think I started doing until this year or halfway through last year, and genuinely, it is a game changer. So let me show you how I do them. My trial and error with these was figuring out how to not target my quads as much and to feel it more in my glutes. So my biggest tip that I've learned is just to hinge more at the hips when you lower so that you're getting that glute pump. Okay, so our last and final exercise of this strenuous glute day is going to be hip abductors. And there are a ton of variations with hip abductors, so I'm going to explain to you the best of my knowledge of what the different variations are with hip abductors and what muscles they target in your glutes. So, genuinely, I do love hip abductors because I feel like it is a nice way to ease into the end of your workout and to give you that pump. The most common variation and the one that I started out with was the hip abductors, where I'm leaning forward and pushing out. Now, this variation is going to be targeting your glute maximus, which is the makeup of your entire glutes and mostly the lower part of your glutes. The other variation is when you're going to be leaning back and pushing out. Now, this variation is also very helpful in targeting your glutes as a whole. However, this variation targets more of your glute medius, which is going to be that upper part of your glutes, and as well as more of your side glutes. I think it is really helpful to include both variations of this exercise just so you can overall get the most out of this machine. And how I normally structure this exercise is I will lean forward and do 8 to 10 reps leaning forward, and then I will go ahead and go straight into leaning backwards and do 8 to 10 reps of this as well and follow that throughout 3 sets. And I have learned that this is just the most efficient way to maximize my use of energy if I just go straight from leaning forward to back and also being able to target my entire glutes. And do push yourself because this is an exercise that I think you could easily progress in weight with. So push yourself. Okay.
Now, if you think paddle over now, can we slow it down and sort it out? How love to me, you're the morning, the beat, stronger, and I gotta see you know. Girl, me, I'm pretty, right? Baby, I'll be.
And rest assured you will be feeling that or in your glutes. And I just think it is a great way to end your glute workout. We are going to be ending this killer glute workout with some cardio. But thank you so much for following me throughout it. And I really do hope that I can give you some inspiration for your next glute day, just because I have been through trial and error with my glute exercises and my glute workout, and I think I have truly found what works best for me. So I'm hoping that it helps you guys out too. Okay, till next time. Bye.